Hi guys, it's Penelope in London. I've got Michaela with me today. We're going to be doing regular new moon and full moon videos, which I think is going to be fantastic. More knowledge, and Michaela's been in evolutionary astrology for over 25 years, so she's got full of knowledge and brilliant to listen and work with. So here we're going to go today on the Aquarius new moon, which is happening tomorrow. And we're going to discuss what this means for all of us. So we've got the new moon at 23 degrees of Aquarius, which you're going to need to find on your own chart. It's going to happen February 11th, 2021. In California, it will be 11:05, New York 14:05, and in the UK 19:05. And then what we have is, this is the chart we're going to pull up on Solar Fire. And then these are the close aspects. These are the closer aspects, but again, you can stop the video if you want to look at that, or go over to Astro Seek and check out those aspects as well. And here we've got Michaela. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, ladies and gents. If there are other gents on here.
Yeah, both. I think we've got a bit of both going on there. So
it's great. Yeah, hi. So we're discussing the new moon in Aquarius, right? And you go ahead and start then.
Okay, all right. So the Aquarius is the Waterbearer, and I'm still, looking at the different archetypes myself. And the Waterbearer is the carrier of the emotions of others, but also not to be influenced by them. So there is a sense of detachment from what I've read. And the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus, which will lead, into the chart as we go forward. Here. Do you know anything about the Waterbearer, Michaela? Do you know anything about the idea of the Waterbearer of Aquarius?
Well, I know that the star in the tarot is associated with the Waterbearer. So that image, I suppose, is partly like that. And that's to do with the Kabbalah and with Isis. It goes back to all of that. So the Waterbearer is the source of knowledge.
Okay.
And it is an Aquarian image.
Yes, and the water there as well, and the cup as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I see Aquarius, like, we know it's the hopes and dreams, but here are some key words for people out there that maybe would like to look at that a bit further. With the Uranus Aquarius keywords are liberation from conditioning. It's also to do with trauma. It's to do with splitting. It's where we can be unique. It's to do with the tribe, the anarchist. It's long-term memory, hopes and ideals. And it's also rebellion, individuation, which is to do with the work of Carl Jung, if you want to check him out. It's also to do with Prometheus and revolutionary, and it's where we can be cast out. It's to do with the astral plane and telepathy. It can be hyperactivity, projection. It can be shocking and unique. And also, so we said hopes and dreams, and alienation as well. Do you know much about Prometheus with this connection, Michaela?
Well, Prometheus stole fire from the gods.
Okay.
And had his liver. His punishment was he was tied to a rock, and his liver was pecked out for all eternity. But eventually, Chiron took his place. And,
okay.
Yeah, the wounded healer. So he sort of sacrificed himself for him. But yeah, that was his punishment. I mean, Aquarius is connected with technology. So man's desire for technological advancement constantly throughout the ages, and always striving for more of that. And that's Aquarian. So it's to do with all of that.
Yeah, we're in very interesting times with, what we're having to look for now, to solve the problems that are going on. And the Pluto moving into Aquarius in 2023, then it'll retrograde and go, 2024 when it begins to stay there. Also, Michaela, I would like to bring this up because you brought up to me in some of your work that you've done and the videos you've got on YouTube, where you talked about the movie with Hal. What was the name of that movie?
2001: A Space Odyssey.
So okay.
Iconic movie where Hal is a computer and he's sort of taken over everything, which is was Kubrick's warning and it was Arthur C. Clarke that wrote the story about mankind, again, the Prometheus, that is to do with Prometheus's lust for advancement through technology. And
Oh, wow, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And the dangers of it, though, because what Kubrick was saying and Clarke was saying in it, that man's his psyche hasn't really, and his mind hasn't caught up. He's raced ahead too quickly with technology, and the soul, the psyche, hasn't caught up. And that's exactly what Jung was saying. In fact, I do believe that well, I know that Kubrick actually was basing his interpretation of the book on Jung's Red Book. And on Jung's philosophy.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
So how, when he says, you know, that he basically contains narcissism, but you said to me that he's been programmed by man.
Yeah.
So it's not that so much, and this is what's happening with humanity, that, you know, the selfishness that exists within all of us. So it's not pointing the fingers at anyone, that if we don't look at our own behaviors and how we interact with others, that, you know, things aren't smooth. You know, it makes things very rough for people. A lot of suffering is created by people not, you know, looking inward and at the shadow.
Yeah, exactly. Like Jung was warning with his Red Book that he, you know, we were talking about it last time. That's when he wrote that at the start of the First World War, and he was actually using it as a prophecy towards the turning of the age of Aquarius, which is the processional sun, which is what all of this is about really now. You don't know exactly when Aquarius is coming in, because it takes hundreds of years for the processional sun to go into another sign. But we have been in the process of leaving Pisces for about 500 years. And now we've accelerated. The First and Second World Wars were a huge acceleration anyway. But now we've gone into another, we're like we're on a roller coaster, and now we're going down the big dip.
Yeah, and it feels like it. I mean, I feel
it'll go up again, but
but
that's what it feels like, doesn't it? It feels like we're on a roller coaster, and now we are shooting now. It started slow, and now, but that's the stage of the processional sun into Aquarius.
I mean, it's interesting because, you know, whilst, you know, I sort of feel a bit, you know, wired and fried, and just at the same time, there is some sort of excitement within it as well, which is a very strange mix, you know.
Well, I mean, they say the frequencies have actually intensified, the frequencies of the Earth, in fact. So we are all connected to that. You know, the frequencies are part of our psyche and everything else. So everything is literally speeded up, and that is Uranian, that's Aquarian.
Yeah, and the collective unconscious, and again, the work of Jung.
So now it's as though we're being taken into, you know, Aquarius now. But we're not ready. We are we were very on ready. Now we're sort of getting a crash course in being Aquarians.
Okay, yeah, and it's interesting we've seen so much, haven't we, that's pointing to that. And the shadow work does lead into Lilith. So you suggested this picture of Lilith.
Yeah, I know. So well, we wanted to use our charts too, didn't we?
Yeah, so this is, we will go forward. But what I would say that with the Lilith that we have, the Black Moon Lilith is the resolution, and this is from Jeff Wolf Green School of Evolutionary Astrology, that the Black Moon Lilith is a resolution to the other two Liliths. So we have the asteroid Lilith, which takes about 4.5 years around the chart, and asteroid Lilith is to do very much making it short and sweet. And if we go back to the Garden of Eden's mythology, where Lilith would not lay below Adam, she refused it, and she went off in a rage and said, I'm going to be on my own, and, you know, cut everybody off and cause trouble for everybody. And then when we go into the Black Moon Lilith, we have true, and we also have the mean, but in evolutionary astrology we do use the true Black Moon Lilith. And this is my chart. So I'm just going to show you here that this is the full moon, the new moon. And what we've got, if you look at my new moon here, it's 23 degrees, that moon, and it's falling bang on my true Black Moon Lilith. So for me, it's squaring all of my planets up here, and up here as well, it's squaring my south node and my ascendant, and it's squaring my DC and my north node and my Mars and my Mercury. So I'm having a wild time at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
But as we were saying, that illustration was the three faces of Hecate. But Hecate is another image of Lilith, Hecate, and Persephone. They all, and Isis. They're all images of. They're all symbolic of Lilith.
Yes.
So in that you're supposedly. I mean, sometimes they illustrate Hecate as the maiden and the mother and the crone. So you've got the first stage of Lilith, and then you've got the center, which is the mother, and then you've got the crone, which is the fading out. So in that's slightly different to as it is usually.
He does actually say, Jeff Paul Green says that Black Moon Lilith, as you said, correlates to Hecate. Is that correct? Hecate.
Yeah, so and that is Hecate. So it's another image. It's a very, I think that's very good if you're going to use the three. It gives you a good feeling for the three types of Black Moon, because otherwise, as we found out, it can be very confusing.
Absolutely.
But that's a really, really good image of it. So you've got the new moon is like the maiden. It's like the start. So we've got the new moon in Aquarius. So you could say that is like the maiden, and that's the phase where it transmutes the so you've got that black moon, true black moon, conjuncted by the new moon, and that's how she transmutes her distorted image back into its natural healthy expression. So this is the sort of the start of that for you to get a grips to anything that is maybe distorted, which is represented by those aspects you were talking about, from Scorpio to Taurus.
There's been a lot of distortion in my life, and I think, I'm not alone in trauma and imprints that keep us hooked into not self-actualizing, and I think
every chart is showing another aspect for all of us. I mean, it's like the kaleidoscope. Each of our charts shows another bit. Oh, that's showing this to the rest of us. We're all part of the collective.
Absolutely.
So in showing your chart there, that's showing part of all our charts, really, but your chart is expressing a certain part of it, like all of ours does.
Yeah.
And that it's interesting. You've got the Scorpio, Taurus, and you've got the south node in Scorpio, and you've got the north node in Taurus, and you've got Neptune conjunct the south node on the conjunct the ascendant in Scorpio, opposite to Mars.
It's a T-square, isn't it? Really, literally.
So that's an opposition. But then what's being made is a T-square with the new moon and the true, and your true black
moon is here,
is T-square to those aspects.
Can you tell me what a T-square means in your words, to give me a bit of education?
So you've got an opposition like you have there from Scorpio to Taurus, and then exactly square. There's a planet directly in the middle of that.
Okay.
So 90 degrees from one side and 90 degrees from the other side. And that's
what's the tension? What would be the meaning of having a T-square in one's chart?
It's a tension aspect, but it's a challenge, but it's also, and on the focal point is the release point. That's exactly it, in fact, what it means. It means it's the point that can transmute it. It's actually the balance point.
Okay.
Because when you
I do feel
that's like a balance. It's not just like, oh, this is terrible tension. When you get that point in the middle, that's the middle point, and that's where you reach a balance.
Yeah, because there can be a lot of fear in astrology with textbook stuff, like saying, no, it's a T-square, oh, it's this, and people can go into fear.
That's good, actually. I mean, you don't want all trines in your chart. With no squares, you have no challenges, you have no impetus, you have no go, you have no, they're not evolutionary, whereas squares and oppositions are evolutionary. They cause evolution.
Yeah, okay.
Transformation.
Then this is the chart. I'm not going to look at this too closely, just to point out that the Aquarius, in Aquarius here, that we actually do have that true black moon Lilith is at 14 degrees at the moment in the collective chart. So when we go over to solar fire, I just want to recall that's where that is, because we can't see this on solar fire, that true black moon Lilith. then the other black moons are, if I'm confusing everybody out there, it's taken me a week to get this. We've got the asteroid Lilith here, and then we've got black moon. Actually, is that the asteroid? I think I'm going to lose it here. I think that's the asteroid. I'm not going to confuse everybody out there, but we will be doing more work on Lilith.
Yeah, you told me just now before we started. Really
That's some asteroid, I think, Lilith.
I told you about the transiting one, yeah, the transiting asteroid. That's right. Yeah, that's what you said. It's the asteroid.
Yeah. So the transiting asteroid is quite interesting with Lilith, because really that is her rage of, you know, saying, I've had enough of this, as she did with Adam. If we go back to that mythology, you know, I'm not doing this, I've had enough. So it's very interesting. It's all tied in with this when we look at the collective chart on solar fire. And then Michaela, would you like to talk a little bit about your chart to, you know, give us some education on that as well?
As far as the black moon went, because we were looking at our black moons because of this came up, and I had noticed that my true black moon is at 25 Aries, and it's actually being squared exactly by Pluto right now.
Absolutely. So Pluto's up here, guys. If you see the marker here, you can see the 25 in Aries of Michaela's. Black moon, not true. True is here. This is black moon, and it's definitely in a square there. So this would be defining to, you know, an energy, and that would be applying, wouldn't it? But then we're going to have a retrograde with that Pluto.
Exactly. So it's funny, it's exact, and I hadn't actually noticed it, and now I notice it, and it happens to be exact. It's like, oh no. But hey.
Well, look at the definition of that. Is there anything else you want to pick up here, or?
Well, Eris is there, of course, in Aries, and Pluto is squaring Eris on and off for the next 3 years. Eris is the goddess, as you said last time. We talked about Eris last time, didn't we?
Yes.
About the goddess of discord, and so Pluto squaring Eris. I mean, it's, you know.
Yeah, it's heavy duty, isn't it?
It's heavy duty, but it is a transformational process. It's not just a ride for the fun of it. It's not a joy ride.
Absolutely. And I think the mental health, you know, I mean, we were discussing earlier what, you know, whether, you know, depending on our state of consciousness and where we're at, because we're always evolving. And, you know, I don't really buy into the word where people say, you know, they're reaching for enlightenment, because I think we are all enlightened by something, you know, on a daily basis. And, you know, we're moving through our own soul journey. So I think it's not about measuring, you know, with you know, where people, I do know in some school of thoughts, they'll calibrate each other on, you know, and how, you know, on their, on certain things, and we can't judge each other because we're just so unique.
Terrible.
Absolutely.
It is, because we are, as you say, we're on our own journey, and we're at our own
unique
evolutionary stage, but remembering that we each have chosen to be born in the time that we are here, and we've chosen to be born in these times, and they're very powerful times of, you know, the transition. And this is a really, as I said, it's a really potent transition phase into the age of Aquarius. So we're changing our whole paradigm. You know, we're actually going into the new, but we've got to learn a lot of new rules, and we've got to learn.
And it's very tough.
Yeah, it's very tough, and but we're taking from the past as well. So, you know, we're all part of this, and we've all got something to share with it. And although we are evolving as well personally, we're also sharing our past journey. Our journey and our past lessons are coming into it too. And Aquarius is very much
we have
of Aquarius is Saturn, and Saturn's the one here that is squaring Uranus.
So Saturn up here,
and almost exactly squaring Uranus down in Taurus. And so that is about the old and the new. Well, Saturn is the old ruler of Aquarius, so it's very, very powerful in Aquarius. And it's squaring Uranus, which is the new ruler of new since the revolution, since it was discovered back in 1781.
Exactly.
Still new.
It's applying, it's squaring, and it's applying as well. So
it's almost exact. So on this new moon, it's in Aquarius, which is very powerful. It's its ruler, it's the co-ruler, it's the old ruler. So it's saying, take from the old. You have to go back, and that's what we've done. We've charged ahead and thought we knew everything. We've got all this new science, supposedly, but actually we've forgotten about the old ways. We've forgotten that we're connected to everything.
So that's Saturn, you're saying?
Yeah, and Saturn is here to re-educate us, to remind us of, don't leave, you have to now go back, get the old wisdom back again, get the old spiritual wisdom back again. That Pisces, it was sort of lost for a while, and it was even branded as heresy, but now get the old wisdom, and you can see that coming. Yeah.
And with these nodes then, so when you've got this Neptune squaring the nodes, and the resolution node would be the south node, again that's another indication that we're having to go back, would we say?
Yes, exactly. Go back and re-examine our beliefs, and where have they actually come from? Why have we got the perspectives we have? Because now, and we need to start realizing that we have been deluded, and we need to recognize where we're deluded.
No, I think if anything that COVID's been helpful to humanity is that, it's dropped all of that, look at me and look at my handbag, look at my car, and so it's helping us break down that narcissism and beginning to be kind to each other and be mindful of giving each other space. It's forced us into, thinking about our behaviors, whereas prior this, we never thought, that washing my hands would, or doing certain things will make the world a safer space, as a simple example.
Exactly. So Neptune there in Pisces too, in square, it's so powerful, squaring the nodes, has come and it's dissolved all these, but it's saying you're deluded, and it's
hard, because when you
hit
a point and you think, oh my God, I've been so delusional, and what is there? And there is no white, knight in shining armor on, that's going to come and save me, and the government can't save me, and
they don't know what they're doing either. So all that, and that authority, with the patriarchy, with Pluto up there in Capricorn, and of course the Saturn-Pluto conjunction back last year in
January.
2020, January, that's what kicked off this whole thing, as we were saying before. And that says, okay, it's time for that to end. This thinking there is an authority above that's higher and they know what they're doing. Well, that's broken it down completely.
Well, yes, because nobody does.
Now that they don't. But you see, what that makes you do then is go into the Aquarian way, which is realizing we're actually all connected and we all have something to contribute to.
We all have to figure this out together. It's not.
And take responsibility, because Saturn also rules Aquarius, as I said, and Saturn is about responsibility. So it's taking responsibility for society, not just for yourself and not just for even your own country, but for the world, the planet. And that's where that is Aquarius.
And that's where we're at. Do you think
where we're at?
So with this moon, we've got, I do know, with the conjunction of the sun and the moon, it's, individualism and the emotions of the feelings, it's where to do with our identity. And is that right? And the ego?
In Aquarius, you mean?
Well, mainly the sun, the meaning of the sun and the moon.
Well, the sun, the sun is about, as you say, individuality and the ego, and the moon is about the unconscious and the psyche. So they're together, which means, yes, it's the fusion of them together. And that you do need both. You can't just divorce yourself from one, because we have gone too much into sun. Actually, that reminds me, someone was talking about that the other day, about and mentioning La La Land, because that triggered that. I don't know if everyone's seen La La Land, but it's a wonderful movie. But it's actually a lot of symbology in it. And they start off with another day of sun in California and LA, because it's all sun, sun, sun. Oh, everything is wonderful. Or everything's great.
There's been a lot of bypassing, hasn't there? That's the reality.
That's bypassing the moon. And this is the whole thing about this period too, because the sun has ruled without the moon. The moon has been, like Lilith, was really
cast out,
exiled. Has been exiled, has been denigrated, because the moon is the feminine. And so the goddess, the great goddess, has been exiled and denigrated, like Lilith. And the sun has just ruled supreme, the ego and the masculine.
And the Watiko.
But they have to be balanced. They have to be together. We've made a huge mistake in doing it, but you say it's a mistake. But nothing's really a mistake. It's all synchronicity. But now's the time for us to put it together again, to put the sun and the moon together, to fuse them in Aquarius, which is what this new
and this big this stellium here with, we've got also the Jupiter with on top of Venus,
yeah, it's huge. So it's all shouting Aquarius, but we have to learn to be Aquarians now. Yeah, exactly.
And the Mercury as well is retrograde. The Mercury is retrograde at the moment, which is giving us a overhaul, and we're going back.
It is, isn't it? It's making us backtrack and saying, well, you haven't got all the information you need. You haven't got there yet, and you've got to go back. You've got to go back into the past.
Yeah, if I go this some way and we take this chart forward, it's the 11th of February. So if we keep going forward, then it goes, Mercury is stations on the 21st of February, and then it will go direct, depending on where you are in the world, but it's, 21st, 22nd, it will go direct, or 23rd if you're in Australia, I guess, maybe. But if you see that, then it will go direct and it will go over all of these planets. I'm very interested to also see that Mars move over the North Node. I'm wondering what that will bring about, but we can look at that in our next video.
Well, they're going back to meet each other, really. I don't know where they meet exactly. Yeah, that would be good to mention that last.
Mars going over there.
Yeah, well, Mars is going forward, and of course the node goes backwards.
Yeah,
so
they're meeting.
They are on a collision course.
They are. Oh gosh, I don't know what I'll make of that. But is there anything else you'd like to point out about this would you know, actually, I didn't check, you said the last one was a wolf moon, but what would this, is this one got a particular name?
I don't know, actually. I didn't hear that it was any, I think it's because that was a particular, that was the second moon, full moon of the after the solstice, after the winter solstice, but this isn't, so it doesn't, I don't think this has a title.
I will say, sorry to interrupt there, but the aspect, the Venus and the Uranus as well, I know it's separating now, but the sort of standard textbook stuff for this would be, it complicates relationships because feels a loss of personal freedom and integrity, and it can cause us to feel mentally unstable because our feelings are constantly changing with that Uranian energy. And so that's just one idea. I mean, there's many ways of looking at this, and the Mars square Jupiter, I mean, there's a lot going on in this chart.
Loads, and it's packed, and it does feel like we are going along so quickly, aren't we, from event to event, and things are changing constantly, and it's very, very fast. But then that's Aquarius. It's just we're on a roller coaster now.
Wow.
But it's an evolutionary roller coaster that we have to ride.
Exactly, I agree. So I think if anybody wants to look at their chart, then you can drop a note below the video on YouTube, and also I think that we'll be doing the full moon when that comes up, and any comments or any questions, do leave below.
Oh, I was going to say about that Mercury direct, because you just said.
Okay. Sorry. Yes.
Mars is at 23 Taurus then, actually, when Mercury goes direct, which is interesting because it will be exactly square this new moon. Because every chart is like a photograph, and every moon phase is like a photograph. So it will be squaring exactly then this new moon. So that should be interesting. And so it's really saying it'll be making another comment, but so we will be going direct. Mercury will have told us, we'll have found out what we needed to find out. And
absolutely
going forward at that point, but Mars will be exactly square the point that the new moon was at, which is interesting.
Okay, so that goes back to 11. I've got 11 there, but that goes so that when
and Venus, oh yeah, exactly square Venus then.
And also for me, that will be it's just dropping by 1 degree back into my second house. So what I'm finding is with this is that it's taking something from my values and bringing it in. I think it's bringing something in for me that, where with my own maturity and my own evolution to evolve and not be, the lesson of not seeking outside ourselves. We integrate with people, but ultimately that the self-value and self-worth is not something that's given via another. It's something that we integrate within ourselves.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Absolutely.
Okay, so is that for today? Are you happy with this?
Great. Yeah.
Okay, guys, we'll be back again and look forward to the next video. Catch you later. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.